Yeah, so it must save you a lot of time by doing this since you have digitized all these processes.
Hmm.
Yeah, so that must have made things more efficient for you, right?
So the advantage of having this is that it's kind of a one central point for every time. I think I like it rather than just going through a list of questions that we put in Excel or things like that. I've seen some projects
Yeah.
where they just go through a list of questions in Excel, open questions or whatever. I think this methodology of just going through Excel, it just goes all over the place, and we don't really have a clear picture of what's going on. But using a workflow, a graphical design, then we always have the background picture of what are we talking about, which environment we are in, and that
Yeah.
if any time in the discussion there is a little bit of a disconnect on what we are talking about, then we go back to the picture and we say, okay, that's what we are talking about. And I think that's
Right.
very important. Otherwise,
Yeah.
there's a lot of information that is actually kind of lost in the vacuum.
Yeah, that sounds like a very good tool for it. So, can you think of any specific challenges or contributions that you have been able to make in terms of conveying a before and after difference by using these workflow designs?
Um, yeah, so I mean, at the beginning of the projects, let me see.
Yeah, we can go by project, so you can just talk about one single project in which you can feel there has been a difference.
So yeah, in general, the uh, in general, the difficulty with those projects is that if you don't do it the way I just explained, doing agile type, you can spend a lot of time doing analysis, doing the solution design. But then once we actually really go to the system and use the system, then suddenly you get users telling you, "Oh no, that's not what I understood. Oh, I didn't understand that. Oh, that
Yeah.
I thought you meant something else." So this is the difficulty of if you don't if you don't show the system right away and go with it and get the users to use it, then there is a risk of developing a gap in the understanding. So this is where I decrease this risk of the gap understanding by doing a presentation like that.
Right. So let's look at the broader picture since you're talking about your general achievements and everything. So, what
Mhm.
are your main responsibilities at this role?
So yeah, so my main responsibility is to ensure the success of the implementation of the software. And
All
so
right.
that's mostly on the software. My expertise was on the warehousing management system. So it goes through all the material handling operations and everything. So my responsibility is just to make sure that I go, I design the core model with the customer that is such that they will be able to implement this model in any of their plants um, easily and eventually even without me. So that's really the responsibility, also the making the first go live a success.
All right.
Uh, so proving the design by at least running the first pilot. So that was my responsibility there.
Right. And were you promoted over the course of all these years?
So if you look at the time, I
Yeah.
started in I started in '95 in Atos Origin.
Yeah.
So I put right to 2000. I was a developer there. So then I moved to QAD. So in QAD, I was first in Spain, from 2002 to 2005, and there I was promoted from technical consultant to application consultant,
Right.
and then so yeah, from 2005 and 2019 in the resume that you have, I
Yeah.
removed, but in 2015 I really moved from actually it was more like senior application consultant from 2000 and what is it? Yeah, I was more like senior application consultant from 2005 to 2015, and in 2015 I was promoted senior solution consultant.
Right.
But it's more related to products that really promotion, meaning you know. But anyway, yeah, I mean they will. Still, I think it was a promotion.
Okay. So
My job didn't really change much. I mean, except that
right.
the scope of my responsibilities would increase, or the size of my customer will increase.
Right. So you got added responsibilities, but the main core functions were the same, more or less.
Yeah, bigger projects, in general.
Right. And you provided the services for various departments, and you oversaw manufacturing, distribution, and technical enterprise architecture, right?
Right. So, across all these years, I mean, the warehousing module, it touches all the modules because in distribution, about, you need to receive inventory, put it away, store it, pick it for manufacturing, bring it to the manufacturing station, and then, take the finished goods, put them away eventually, or send them to shipping, and then build the shipments, and then finally ship the material. So yeah, I will need to know pretty much every module, and so yes, I would give advice to the customer about setting up their distribution or manufacturing modules to make sure that it would work perfectly with the warehousing requirements.
Right. So let's talk about these modules one by one, since you have listed them in your achievements as well. So
Mhm.
here we have this core model solution design that you have talked about. Can you elaborate a little about what this is?
Right. So core model design is that we want to have a solution, one solution, one business process for all our facilities to
All
be the
right.
same eventually, so that management can have a visibility on about the processes and the operations, uh, which is homogeneous across plants, right? So that's the objective of homo-
Right. For this
homogenizing,
solution.
building a core model solution. So yes, going through the workshops and etc. We'll together, we will discuss. Okay, what needs to happen in receiving? Do we need to print the labels? Do we need to? Are we going to use labels from the supplier that are already printed for us? Or so what are the processes? What do we need to? What kind of information do we have? What kind of information we need to enter, the verification of the receiving, and so then we would discuss about how do we bring this inventory and move it within the plant based on the needs. Um, so
Right. That sounds like a really good project. So did you start it from the ground up, or were you working on it with some other departments as well?
so I'm sorry, which one are we talking about right now?
We're talking
The
about the
core
core
model.
model solution. Yeah.
Yeah. So most often, my customers, they already use the system, right? So they already kind of have a business process. But indeed, based on the context, we would all say, okay, this is the current business process, and that's about okay, but we need to improve this, we need to improve that. Or sometimes we will just start from scratch. Let's say, let's just forget about the old system because anyway it doesn't do much. So let's just talk about everything from the new system that we can do and start from scratch. So that these will be eventually some type of implementation, but most often will be more okay, how do we do today? How do you do today? And what are the challenges that you're having, and what do you want to improve? So yeah, based on where they are, we do start from scratch, or we just do improve the system
Right.
that they.
Existing systems. Okay.
Mm,
So, can you tell me about a project that you started from the scratch?
um, there's not that many, but yes, for example, the latest one, I will say, last year, the place where I started implementing the system was pretty much not using any system, meaning that they
Right.
would use Excel to, they would have one system to maintain for an item, the entire quantity for their site, but actually physically there were different locations. There was a different and external warehouse. There was the plant, and a truck will move between this warehouse and the plant. So we define from the ground up, okay, what needs to be identified and where, and how can we identify the locations and make sure that any time that we need to know where is the inventory, we know if it's in the truck, if it's in the warehouse, or if it's in the plant, and actually where is it inside that plant, or where is it inside that warehouse, and where is it. So these are the kind of information that they were lacking when they were using a very high level system that just maintain quantity and item number. And
Right.
so then the implementation will be to explain that we can go much more detailed, and on the top of this, if we use some labeling and scanners, then we can always, every time that we move the inventory, we can always scan and make sure that the system is up to date, and so that at any time we have a clear visibility that where is my inventory located.
Right. So you basically developed an inventory tracking program to make things more efficient and to help in to help the efficiency
So
of the
what we
entire
do is that
project. Yeah.
we define the configuration of the QED software, right? Because QED it's
Right.
a software editor. QED is like SAP or Oracle or things like that. So
Yeah.
my job will be to define the setup of this software, QED enterprise application. So okay, if we set it up like this, like this, like this, like that, then you will be able to achieve your objective of having the visibility for inventory. So my
Right.
work will be to explain to them how to set up the system and get them
Yeah. How to implement it.
looking. Mm.
Yeah. So, what business value did this entire project drive? Since you said they didn't have any system before, so after the implementation of this system, what value did it generate?
So that is always difficult, right? Because those are, private companies. They don't
Yeah.
like to. I mean, those are not public companies, but at the plant level, the
Yeah,
numbers
it's
are.
okay. You don't have to disclose the exact numbers or anything, or just like in percentages, or just the overall impact of the entire project.